we have this very old used piece of furniture, a table that we tried to salvage, sand it, but there's still a lot of greasy marks and unevenness on the top. So we're going to restore it using Tjhoko Paint. To still keep that wood element and feel to it, we are going to use various Tjhoko Paint neutral colors together with a wood graining tool to make it look like wood and to repurpose this beautiful old piece of furniture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by dipping my brush in different Tjhoko colors. Start from this side. And what I'm actually doing, so it's even coats, I blend various neutrals together. So we're working with Martin's Move, Ishmael's Ish, Lebos Light, Eye of Elsie, Elvis Mix, and we just randomly spread these colors in one streak at a time across the length of the furniture piece. And make sure I also touch on the edge of the table. Next, while the paint is still wet, I use a wood graining tool and move it from one side of my table to the other. So we are busy hiding any imperfections. Now I'm working with my next streak, the width of my paintbrush more or less, because that's the size more or less of the wood graining tool. I clean it, make sure most of the paint is removed from those crevices. And now I continue until the entire surface is complete. Whenever you want to make changes, you simply go over again, change where you want to, and just enjoy the process. The movement I'm making is a rocking movement, working backwards and forwards. The colors I've selected is a very personal choice, and it depends on the theme you're busy creating. So we are working with raw wood, we have natural elements, and we want to repurpose this piece of furniture to still look like wood. If you are more of an adventurous person and has a different color scheme in your space, you can work with various colors. Just due to the fact that we have natural elements, we still want to have that woody look and feel. I have selected a very natural palette with warm tones. So it's browns, it's creams, and it's grays with a warm undertone. We have reached the last end of this table, so I'm just going to complete this Then I'll make sure that the edges of the table is nice and neat with a dry brush technique, which I'll show exactly how to do. So this is just the last piece. And now I'll use the color Martin's Move with my brush I've been painting with. Remove any excess paint, and with a dry brush, just touch the edges. You do want to ensure that the entire project looks neat and rounded off. So just to make sure that it does look that way, we need to make sure that every area is beautiful. Something that I will also do on the areas where I feel that more of a weathered look is needed, I'll take a 100 grit piece of sandpaper and just sand those areas. That's actually what you do want to accomplish with a dry brush technique, is to make it look sanded, worn, and authentic old. I am done with the top for now. The paint needs to dry. Then I will stand back, see if anything needs to change. I will explain if I make any changes. We have cleaned everything properly with lacquer thinners due to the fact that it was a varnish surface. The thinners has dried completely, and now I'm going to start painting the legs with level light and an enzyme paintbrush. When painting with a paintbrush, make sure that you have enough paint on your brush, that your first coat is done evenly, as this is the foundation for the rest of the coats to follow, and just enjoy the transition process. Most of the Tjhoko Paint colours are named after people, and Lebo's Light is no exception. So Lebo is a beautiful lady that works as a picker in the factory. She is the sole provider for her family. Both her parents are still alive, as well as her sister. She's a netball player, and she sees herself as a mediator. She does free consultations, and I think due to the fact that she's so soft-hearted and such a people's person, people connect with her easily. So she is an extremely good listener, and yeah, she resolves issues in the factory. And now that our paintwork is complete, I will start sanding the edges and the detail, and just allow for my paint to dry before I do that. Something that is important when painting is to wait between paint coats for the paint to dry before start applying your second coat. Next, we will be applying our glaze coat on our tabletop. Very important when applying the glaze is to allow for your paint to cure for at least 4 hours. Best is to wait overnight. The instructions on the lid says add 30% water. That is 3 parts glaze, 1 part water. I'm going to break those rules. I'm going to add equal parts glaze and cooled boiled water. I just want to manipulate the sheen level, and by adding more water, I will have more of a matte finish and still more than enough protection on my surface. The reason why I'm glazing the top coat or the tabletop is you want a stain-free, water-resistant, UV-resistant, if you're going to use it outside, surface, especially on the top. Tjhoko has a built-in sealer, and it's not always necessary, but things like tabletops, pedestal tops, kitchen cupboards, something you paint outside, are surfaces that we do recommend to add the glaze. In my hand, I have a damp microfiber cloth. I've dampened it with water, squeezed out any excess moisture, and I'm going to dip this cloth in my glaze and water mix. You can wear gloves. Tjhoko is completely non-toxic, but the glaze is a pure acrylic product, and if you don't wash your hands immediately, it will create like a film on your hands. So if you don't like spending hours in the bath, you can wear some gloves. I'm now making sure that I work in a well-lit space, and I'm just evenly wiping my glaze on my tabletop to add extra protection. Once applied, wait 30 minutes for the glaze just to be hand dry. If you see any streakiness, that is caused by areas where you've missed to wipe the glaze on. Just apply another coat and then wait 48 hours before you put anything onto the tabletop, just so that the glaze cures completely. Next, I'll be sanding the legs just to add some detail to those crevices and also some character. I'm using a 100 grit piece of sandpaper. I am going to create some smaller sections for myself. And now I'm going to focus on those legs. So when I sand, I make sure to add pressure on the areas where there's an edge or detail. I apply pressure, but initially light pressure, until I'm confident where my sanding is happening, and then I apply more pressure as I want to remove more paint and even the varnish underneath, just to create authentic, lighter wood areas. Our table is done and it looks absolutely amazing. Catch our next video to see what is up next.